3, 2, 1. The Codex Learn podcast.
Hi, welcome to Growing Up Nigerian, a podcast about the unique challenges Nigerian parents face in preparing their children to face the harsh realities of adulthood. This podcast analyzes concepts around developmental, psychological, and educational values and deep dives into age-long, controversial issues of when to give permission to kids and when to revoke it. So, if you're a Nigerian parent, a child, or someone passionate about child grooming, then this podcast is for you because it will help unpack, amongst other things, the unique realities of growing up Nigerian.
I heard the honk of the car from a distance and knew Daddy was home. He had promised to come home early today, something he didn't particularly do every day. But today was different. He was angry. He had taken one look at my school report on his way to work and had stopped in his tracks. He frowned, blinking again and again, as he tried to understand what he was looking at. It was an F, and I had gotten it for my efforts at school this term. In an unexpectedly swift movement, he landed a slap to the side of my face that launched me against the side of the fridge. I slid to the floor, dazed as I felt the side of my face begin to swell. He stared at me as he approached, his face an angry mask. But Mommy grabbed him by the waist and began to scream. "Daddy, please, oh, you will kill her. Please, she's your only daughter. She will do better next time, I promise." My ear didn't stop ringing all day from the slap. There was also a dull pulsating ache anytime I touched the side of my face. I remember that Daddy had sworn under his breath, pushing Mommy aside as he walked angrily out of the house. "I am coming home early today and I will deal with you when I return, you ingrates." As he drove through the open gates, my heart began to pound. This was going to be the worst day of my life.
Welcome to our very first episode of Growing Up Nigeria by Codex, the podcast. Today we have two amazing people with me. But first of all, my name is Abraham Sharon. I'm your host. And I have Omo. Tell me, what's your...
Omo Ikelo.
Ikelo, sorry. And Ramat Akaba. Love that name.
Not Akaba.
Okay.
Akaba.
All right, cool. So Ramat Akaba. All right. So today's topic is spanking. A very controversial topic, I might say. It's one of the very first things that one of the very first signs of love that parents show their children growing up. Also, it was for me. So in starting, let me just ask you guys, were you flogged as kids? So ladies first. Rama, were you flogged as a child?
Not really. I wasn't flogged. Okay, I was punished, but not... I was flogged too, but like thrice. Yeah, thrice by my dad.
What's the difference between being flogged and punished?
Punished, it could be okay, just like, okay, kneel down. Someone can just tell you kneel down, raise your hands, or, pick a pin. Kind of, yes. That's like punishment. That's, okay. For me, it's punishment.
That's punishment.
Different from spanking.
Okay. All right. Omo, so what about you? Were you
Same as her, but I was never, flogged at all.
Not
Never.
once?
Not once. I got slapped once, my dad, but besides that, no.
Are you sure you don't remember? I feel like you don't remember because they flogged everybody.
No,
I believe they flogged everybody.
No, you can't say
I was
that.
I was like, like a family, I don't know how to put the word, but I was
You just
special.
said it wasn't flogged, so just believe it wasn't.
Nah, I can't believe it. We're Africans. It's a thing. Parents flog everybody. They flogged me because, it's what they do. I don't know how to explain
No,
it.
not all African parents flog children.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what's the worst? In school, you were flogged in school, though, even though your parents didn't do it.
Sure.
All right, cool.
You can't escape that. No one does.
Exactly. So they flogged you in school or more?
Yeah.
What do you mean by yeah?
More punished than flogged, because
Okay.
it was a military school, but it was more punishment than.
I think for the our listeners, we should tell us which school that was, so that they'll send their children to those schools.
Air Force Keja.
Air Force.
Yeah.
Nah, they flogged in Air Force. I think I know people from Air Force. They flogged.
Well, like I said, more punishment than flogging.
Than flogging.
It was more like.
So you were like really stand out, like in your school. They didn't flog you for any reason.
Well, most
guess it was
times
well
they
behaved.
flog you for coming late and missing assignments or stuff like that. But
All right. So what's the worst? Anybody can answer now. So what's the worst like type of flogging or spanking? We call it flogging because that's like cane.
Yes.
I feel like spanking should cover it. All right. So what's the worst type of spanking you've ever seen, and with what? Both parents. Okay, because since your parents, I guess, school or wherever.
Okay. I think mine was in maybe primary 5, I guess. So there was this lesson I used to go to for common entrance and all. So there's this man, Mr. Majek. He gives us assignments or something like that. Like there's this Wosigo textbook. I don't know if you guys know.
Yeah, everyone knows Wosigo.
It was like really big. So he give you like an entire lesson to go and solve and come the next day. So when you come in the next day, they are like exchange with your partner. Your partner marks your own and everything. So after they do that, they now do like 10/10, 9/10.
Yeah.
So as soon as it gets to like 5/10, everybody stands. So 5/10 gets flogged, 4/10 gets flogged. Then people that get 1/10,
Wow.
lay you down on the table.
Whoa.
Put water. What? legit. I'm not joking. They'll sprinkle water
On the person.
on your back, and actually flog you. It was mad. So, in fact, we started cheating when we were young. there was no way you could get 0/10.
Wait, is it without a clothes on or what?
You remove your clothes now.
Wow.
You will have your boxers on, obviously.
I mean,
or whatever it was. It was primary 5. Nobody really cared about.
I mean, it's almost like they got creative with flogging. So
Yeah, it was
flogging
mad,
with
bro.
water on your back, that's ridiculous. I mean, all right, Rama, what's the worst type of flogging you've seen anywhere?
Can I don't think I remember any.
Like-
Because, okay.
So your life was so far away from flog, and you lived in like, where did you grow up? What state?
Ilorin, Kwara State, yeah.
Man, so they don't flog in that state. I mean,
No,
good to know.
not
It's
that.
good to know.
Okay, in school, not really.
What school did you attend growing up?
Government Girls Day.
Yeah.
Okay, to be honest, I attended several schools.
Oh, I see. Cool. All right, fine. So I did some research, getting into this. I'm trying to understand the topic of flogging. And let me start from here. Somebody called Marshall Rosenberg, right, said punishment is the root of violence on our planet, right? So basically, after reading through articles and a bunch of stuff, studies show that children who are flogged are more prone to violence than other people. It's almost like they're the ones that become bullies, and they're the ones that start to. Okay, since I'm the only one in the room who got flogged as a child, let me just say this one experience. By the way, what I'm saying, I've moved forward from it. I'm no more a bad person.
Okay,
So when I was
a
in,
bad person.
not like I was once a bad person. Anyways, that's not the point right now. So when I was in Unilag, I was a Unilag student. I can't remember what exactly happened. I think a friend of mine threw my bags, like literally my bag my clothes were in. He threw it from like the second floor of our hostel to the ground. I was so angry. I walked into the room. There was an iron. It was plugged. I don't know, and I just took it. The guy was lying down even. I just took it. I just put it on his back. Worst moment of my life, by the way. Don't look at me like that. Worst moment of my life. But I think that was one of the. I just saw red. I was just so angry. So when I was going through this research, stop looking at me like that.
Okay.
So when I was going through this research, it was something that kind of stayed with me. Like, okay, maybe because I was flogged to an extent, that's why I'm where I am. But anyways, okay. So since you guys are not flogged, what did they do to you? Let's get into that. Like, what are the kind of ways you were punished, quote and unquote?
For me, my mom will literally tell me to kneel down, pick a pin, or fetch water.
Pick one pin, sorry. So fetching water was supposed to be a punishment for people. I mean, for you, that was punishment. Wasn't it like a standard?
It was like a fun activity for me.
It wasn't for me
It was
because
like-
I never
it was-
liked
it was
fetching
like
water.
What kind of childhood
once
did you
in a
guys...
while thing.
I feel like now I grew up in like the worst parts of Nigeria. I mean, for crying out
No,
loud.
to them they felt like, okay, they're messing with your mental health. You
Okay,
get,
okay,
yeah.
so I get it. So this is what's going on. My parents were more of the physical torturers, right? You guys were mental
Yes,
torturers.
Please,
okay.
I wasn't
For
into
me,
that.
they were messing with
for
your
me,
mental health.
Yes.
Letting this
Like,
happen after
okay,
my
since you don't like this.
The mental
it was okay.
but fetching water was a fun activity for you.
For him,
It was
but for me, it
once in a
wasn't.
while thing. So it was like maybe when my other, people in my house were going out to fetch water, they'll give me all these small ever bottles or something.
Mine was big bucket, like paint.
I did
No,
that
they
like twice.
paint that big
Times.
paint bucket.
So what age was the fetching water thing?
Maybe 8, 7, 8.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm trying to understand something. Did you guys like grow up rich, or like maybe there's a
No,
boti and
just-
like Paco factor here?
No. Just
I want to believe I didn't grow up Paco like that. I mean, I lived in a gated neighborhood though. Yeah, the fetching water thing was a standard because we didn't have water in the compound for a while, but then that came later. But still, I feel like stuff was harder on my side. So where did you said you grew up in Ilorin? Mm-hmm. In those days, Ilorin was having a Paco place, I know.
Yeah, but depending on the location.
Ah,
Yeah.
I see. Did your parents grow up in the village or in Lagos
they
or
did.
where?
They grew up in Kogi State. Okay,
Yeah,
to
me
be
too, me too.
precise. So
Wait, did they flog your parents? You know if they flogged your parents, you talk to them like
no,
that.
my dad.
He flogged your dad.
Yes, it was
Okay.
flogged growing up.
The way you
Growing
said
like
the
it was
flogging.
flogged
Okay, cool.
and punished.
I'm punished.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, Omo, did you flog your parents? You know.
Not that I'm aware of.
So
At least not my mom, sure.
You don't talk to them about like this kind of thing. Like they
not-
flog mom, they flog your
Not
grandma.
really. I don't.
Not really, no.
But I don't think they did because
So there's this thing I've noticed, in all the reading I did, people who were flogged will flog, right? And it's like a very sad reality. Like most of us will grow up to be our parents. And I'm pretty sure there are things you probably won't like about your parents that you don't want. Like, oh, I won't do this to my child when it's my turn. There has to be something like that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
usually.
Okay, your parents will beat you. So what's that thing that you say, okay, I won't do this to my child?
I don't know. I guess I wasn't as close to my parents as I thought I would be.
Exactly. You see, I don't know. This is if there's like a bonding in the pain of getting flogged, and somehow we get closer to our parents. I don't know. I believe that, as they flogged me over time, I talked to my mom, even though she has broken this turning stick now. I broken it on my head. Like when it even broke, I didn't notice.
Were you bleeding?
No, I wasn't bleeding. It was in the spur of the moment. We're a very lively family, but let's not go there. So here's what I was getting at. My dad grew up in Kogi State, right? And I really hope my parents don't hear this podcast.
They will.
No, I think about
There
it.
would be a lot of violence in Kogi states. Yeah, saying that.
I mean, now that I think about it, most of my uncles are in the army. They are in some maybe FRSC, the actual army. Like one of my uncles actually went to Sambisa, legit, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, so in my dad, told me, he used to say this thing like, oh, by the time I was like maybe 13, I've left my father's house. I was on the farm. He's like, he has like all these scars from being on the farm. Like there's this glorifying of pain and suffering, right? So on some level, I feel like that's something that has been transferred over. So you guys are saying your parents were not, although Rama did say her dad was the one that was flogged. He said it with so much emphasis. So I'm assuming he's the one that flogged your how many siblings do you have?
3.
3, and you're the first.
Yeah.
Cool. Omo?
4 siblings.
And you're the
Third.
but you're the first boy.
Yeah.
And you're the first girl. You see, we're seeing a pattern here. So your parents probably just, oh my God, my daughter and all of that, my son. There was no girl beforehand, there was no boy before you. Maybe that's why they didn't flog you as much, but they probably flogged your siblings, did they?
Yeah,
No.
they did. For me, they did.
No.
Okay, let's face Robert first. Okay, so they flogged your siblings and it was your dad
Yeah.
that did most of the flogging.
Yes.
So you see what I'm saying? So I think because they flogged him, there's something I don't think he knows better or another way to go, because it's not exactly a Google for parents or something. I don't know how they find information at this point, right? Or how do I train my child? I don't think it's something their generation does, right? So now they just moved on with doing what their parents did to them. Only now apparently in more creative ways, like the
my
man
dad-
who was flogging me, what
Majek.
Mr. Majek.
Okay, so though my dad growing up, he didn't grow up living with his parents.
Yeah.
He grew up living with his uncle. So he always said stuff like, okay, he was flogged while growing up. So he's going to flog his children as well, because he believes that's the best way to train a child.
Yeah, of course.
Because that was how he was trained. You get? So I think you have a point where you said people who were flogged while growing up have the tendency of becoming violent, kind of.
Yeah.
Because they have this belief that, okay,
if it works for me,
yes, it's going to
it
work for
the
exactly for the
child.
other person.
Exactly. All right, so Yeah, so Rama said her dad, right? She has said her dad was beaten. That's why, I mean, people who were hurt will hurt. Like, I don't know if you heard the thing where they say, hurt people hurt people. I heard that, yeah.
First time.
First time. You're welcome. Now, so amongst your parents, there was no time when they ever like just decided to flog. Like, I feel like it's impossible. I feel like most people will agree with me. It's almost impossible. Like, they've even, there's even this thing they do in Africa, or it's an African thing, I'm pretty sure, where they say the community raised the child. Okay. So this happened in my area this one time. I feel like I'm bad-mouthing my area. Is that a thing?
No, it's not.
Anyways,
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's like they were flogging somebody. Person ran out of the house, and the neighbors carried the child back inside.
Whoa.
Why?
Because the community raised the child.
Okay, yeah.
There's
So always that belief.
So let me ask you this. Were your parents really religious?
It's a tough question.
Dicey. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing this. Let's do this.
All right. So, sort of, to an extent, and they were not like the over religious kind of people. So yeah.
Yeah, because there's one thing we also have here where there's a
Where's here?
Here as in Nigeria, we're very religious. I heard that there are more churches than hospitals apparently. I don't know how true that is, but
Yeah, that's true.
There are
That's
more
true.
churches
Yeah.
than schools.
there are more
as
churches
well.
than schools.
Yeah.
Amazing. So spare the rod and spoil the child like Ramata. I'm pretty sure they told Ramata. That's why she was able to bring it out really quickly. So parents have used that as a guiding tool, because the Bible said that if you spare the rod or spoil the child, I will not spoil you. Something like that. I feel like someone has told me that before. So something like that. So I've never used any other reason to flog. So I'm getting into the reasons why they do this at some point. So we know one reason is because they flog them too. So it's kind of that's their own way of doing it moving forward. So was there any other? I know they punished you, not actually flogged you, right? Yeah. So was there any reason they gave for the punishment? Like, was there a religious thing at play?
I just disobeyed. Basically, I was being disobedient.
So was there any like when they were talking to you? What did they say exactly? What was it? Talking to? They just gave you punishment. Didn't tell you why they were punishing you.
Obviously, you know why you are being punished. If you do something bad,
not,
you know why you are being punished.
Not exactly. It was not every time.
So, for example, if my parents go out, because my parents went out when I was younger. So if they go out, they are like stay upstairs. They generally don't leave the house.
Yeah.
So we usually sneak out. There's like a way we like.
Facts.
So we snuck out of the house.
Yeah.
Go downstairs, we play. So when we hear the horn of their car coming back in, we all sneak back upstairs and pretend like we didn't go downstairs.
Yeah.
So I think one time when we were trying to come back upstairs, there's these gates that we usually try to put our heads through because we're really small. So
Wow, you've been a terrorist.
we put our head through the gates and then,
Yeah.
and then you try to get in. So I don't know what happened that day. I don't know if my head suddenly grew bigger.
So your head could not go through the
So I
gate.
couldn't fit, I was stuck. So my dad came in.
Wait,
and
but
he's-
that was the same gate you came out through.
Exactly.
Okay.
That same day. So when he came in, he saw me at the gate and he was like, why are you? And I was on the other side of the gate. So he was
Yeah.
like, obviously I must have come out.
Yeah.
So he realized that we had been doing it for a while. Then he punished us that day. And, usually stuff like that happens. And you know why you're being punished.
So you actually made them punish the others.
They caught only me, but
Snitch, bro. That's some
How?
snitch
Yes.
stuff.
how?
I don't know what to tell you, man. It is what it is. The rules of the streets. You made it catch you, right, guys? Snitch.
I did not make my head grow bigger now.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So let's move the discussion to schools, right? Yeah. So they flogged me specifically. By the way, I'm a good person.
No, you're not.
They flogged me more in school, or I feel like they flogged more people in school than they flogged at home, right? And the teachers they took a joy, like a personal joy. Let me give you this one time. So I had this further math teacher. I wasn't doing so well at the time though. So he was the one that man was a nuisance. Anyways, he saw my dad in the bank. So he came to class. He was like, Rose. He called me Rose. So he was like, Rose, I saw your dad. I saw your father at the bank. He told me to take care of you in the school. I know my father would never have said that for any reason. So from that day forward, anytime he flogged me, he would remind me that your dad told me to take care of you. That's what.
Wow.
And then one day he flogged me and I went home and I said, why did you ever tell this man? He's like, I didn't tell the man anything. And the teachers just took so much pride, in beating kids, So let's just get your opinion. What do you think about the whole teacher flogging kids thing? Yeah, go on.
Alright, so I went to a military school, so flogging was like a norm for a while. Okay, until maybe like SS3.
Yeah.
But it was like general flogging usually. It wasn't always I did something wrong, or it was like the entire class is making noise. The soldier comes in, flogs the entire class and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there was this one time.
Yeah, that story.
There's always this one time.
Yeah.
Okay, there were several times actually, but let me just tell you this one time. So I was in SS2, I think. I was in SS2. So it was after school. I was in class with a friend of mine.
Okay. Okay.
Go
I
on.
was in class with a friend of mine.
With a female friend of yours.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
My
have to be
girlfriend at the time.
specific.
All right.
So we were frolicking
Okay.
in quotes. We were frolicking, and a teacher came in and saw us,
My God.
and the guy was just an ass. It was basically just that's yeah.
Yeah.
So he came in and he saw us together and he was like, what are we doing, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. And
It was very obvious what
Okay.
you were doing. It was very, very obvious.
we
what
obviously
you were
tried to play it down and just say like just lied to him and said we're just
Studying, right?
no, not studying.
Okay.
Not
doing. What kind
studying.
of excuses now?
Not studying. We were just hugging and
Oh, all right.
chilling.
Okay.
So the guy was like, I don't know why he took offense. I don't know. I think the guy just
I
hated
guess
me
you
or
like
something.
the girl.
No, he hated me.
Oh. Okay.
So he started, raising hell and shouting and everything. Then he took me to the maths departmental office and all, and I was like, blah 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 blah. So he flogged me. Right,
Yeah.
he flogged me that day. So when I got home, I told my mom that there was this lecturer because I think he injured my hand or something like that. So
Yeah.
when I got home, I told my mom, blah blah blah. Luckily, my mom was like PTA executive and all. So she was like, why would he flog me like that, blah blah. I didn't tell my mom the full
Yeah, I
story.
was about to get
Okay.
into that
Just-
one. Okay.
So when my mom came to the next day, she went straight to the commandant's office and was like, one of their teachers, blah blah, flogged me and all. So my mom was like,
Okay.
that she's not going to take that kind of this thing, that the lecturer has to apologize. I mean, the teacher has to
To
apologize.
you.
Legit, to this guy actually came to your class to apologize to
In
me.
front of
Really?
the
Obviously, no. He
called
me
you out.
and-
Okay.
Because the commander was like that. Wow, did you do something like that? It was after school. It was like there was no reason for his. I don't know what
Actions, right?
Because it made no sense. But people just like you say, they like to flog
But I
children.
guess it wasn't
Yeah.
right for you doing that in school, within the school premises, right?
I wasn't doing anything illegal. I was
Wow.
just.
Hello.
I mean,
it wasn't
At what
illegal.
age? Hello.
Let's not go into that. Let's not
It
go
wasn't
into that.
illegal. It's not like we're doing something serious. It was just.
Okay.
Okay, all right,
Okay,
let's move on.
okay.
Let's move on from that. We'll talk about that behind the scenes. Yeah. So I went to a boys and girls school, and the girls school was like the very next building. But the way it was arranged, right, the girls had to like walk past the boys' school to get to their own. So this one time, it was not one time, it happened a lot. They were flogging them. It was so odd.
Flogging the girls?
Yeah, like the boys, when they flog boys, they standard every week something happens. They always call a special assembly to flog. Like, why even make it so like public? I don't know. Well, that's another thing entirely. So I don't know. It was a male teacher that was flogging this female student, and I don't know if there's something about females screaming in pain, but that thing meshed with, kind of stayed with. Like I almost see it every time I imagine it. So I want to ask Thomas, were you like flogged like that? I mean, you admit you were flogged in school now, Shay.
Yeah, once.
How is it once? Okay, maybe girls are not as violent or playful as boys. Or do I doubt it? Because it's Rama's
But you don't have to.
So just tell us about how it was, If there's like, I think there might be a certain, maybe difference between being like a boy child being flogged.
I don't think
And
there's...
for girls, maybe parents will probably look at it differently because, it's the girl child, right?
So I went to a girls only school and I got flogged only once. And that was because someone went against the school rules. Not really school rules, like class rules, and we had to get punished for someone else's sin.
Like your class?
Yes, my class. So what happened that day was that we're told to come outside under the sun, kneel down, and like for 1 hour, We knelt down under the sun for 1 hour. And before you know it, they called the disciplinary officer, or whatever they call them. I don't know. I was like, okay, this was what happened. They need to be flogged before they can go back to their classes. That is after being punished for a good 1 hour.
Like, see, that sounds bad for you. That's just nothing really, but okay.
No, it wasn't really. Well, what really pained me was the fact that I knelt down under the sun, not the cane, not the flogging. Under the sun was the painful part for me, not the flogging. Yeah, you get. So
I mean, if we remove like school, remove school from what she just said and put like prison camp or like fourth world country where there's a dictator, it sounds almost like they're torturing people. That's the thing that they do in school. I don't think people notice the amount of. There's so much pleasure in the wordings, quote and unquote, or the teachers flogging people. It's ridiculous. And they have so many things they used to flog people, right? Like she said, it's a whip.
Yes.
And then, like, what are the things?
There is ruler.
That was some primary school stuff, man.
No, even in secondary schools.
I feel like hands were parents, you know? Parents did the whole hand thing. Yeah.
And legs as well.
What?
Sticks.
Yeah, the teeth.
Sticks
in school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers had sticks.
Yes.
Okay, I remember this one teacher who went home with his canes. Like, you will see him when you're coming to school in the morning. He will literally be holding the cane. And then some people said he was whispering to the cane or something. I'm not exactly sure.
And there's this, I don't know what they call it. Is it water hose or something?
Like this,
yes,
that pipe in cars.
Yes, pipe, exactly.
I can't remember the belts, the fan belts from the cars.
No.
Not fan belts.
No.
Well,
water hose.
Yes, water hose.
Literally like a pipe.
Exactly.
Wow. That's just crazy. All right. So let's.
I do want to hear the truth. My dad actually used that. Yeah. So
sad memories. It's never good when they flog kids. So Rama, let me ask you, what's your how's your relationship with your dad? Seeing has he flogged you with the pipe thing?
Well, not the friendly one.
Hey, what do you mean? He's not the friendly one.
Not the friendly kind of relationship. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I understand his own side of, the fact that, okay, he wants to, train his children in the best way that he feels. Well, can we really not talk about it? Because I don't really want to talk about it.
Okay, all right. That got into intense.
Really
All right, no problem. No problem. Concerning let's get back to the whole school thing. And if you go back, I mean, when I guess we were in secondary school, the seniors at the time had like, I don't know, they had this violent streak or power,
Yes.
where they now use belts to flog kids. This one time, the boarders, like in school was a mixed school, that's day students and boarding house students. So they usually like wash their plates after they finish eating from the dining hall. So this junior, I think the senior was like drinking water, with his hands and everything. And I think the junior thought he was done. I'm not exactly sure what happened. He like put his plates under the tap. At the same time, the senior was drinking. And the senior just slapped him. Like, when something echoes around the school. It was that, okay, I'm probably exaggerating it, but I was standing there, I saw it happen. It's not like they told me. Slapped him. Pulse came out from the guy's ear.
Wow.
I was shook. Like, and that was a time when those things were bigger and tougher. I feel like at this point, kids have, I don't know, it's like
leveled out.
We've leveled out. It's almost like the world is becoming more intelligent, so we don't need more physical, attributes. So is it possible? Here's the question: is it possible that because kids have started leveling out like that, parents don't need to flog as much, or teachers don't need to flog as much because the students will, or the kids will be more susceptible to talking or to logic rather than physical pain. Like at this point, you can now talk to them. They will understand that, okay, we did this. This is why we are being punished. Not, I think punishment should still flow. There should be repercussions to actions, right? But do you think that kids have leveled out, like because they've leveled out, they're no more like physically imposing? That logic and talking to will now be the best way to go. What do you think?
Well, I never thought, or I have never thought that flogging your kids was because of their physical attributes, was because you just wanted to flog them.
Yeah. I feel like kids have become less violent though over time. So let's get back to the school issue, right? All right. So when we were in school, I guess our generation, I guess when we were back in secondary school, yeah. So the seniors, right? They were more physically imposing. Let's agree on that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I'm pretty tall I was pretty tall for my age at the time, but they were taller for some reason, the bulkier guys, and they used to like really, really beat juniors. It was a problem. Like you could not even go in front of the senior block. Or like there was this one thing that was really popular where they'll give you like 200 naira, send it to buy something, or 500 naira, and then you have to come back with change of 300 naira. It was like very impossible. So like what you guys, okay, let me ask this, but when you were seniors, did you guys like do something of the sorts?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Rama,
yes, I did, but
details. We need details.
okay. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And that was like one time. Yeah. Just one
it's
time.
always one time. Like,
just one
who
time.
Has noticed? Like,
Just one time.
It happens.
Yes, just one time. So what really happened? I was at the gate that day. What we do is that every morning, certain seniors go to stand at the gate. Like 1, 2, or 3 seniors go to the gates just in case those coming in late. Yeah, so they get to punish them or either flog them. So I realized that the other seniors were not really doing their job, kind of, and also the juniors were being disrespectful, and also the fact that even when I give orders, they don't follow the orders. So I said, this time I'm going to be the one to stay at the gate while the other seniors can go in. So then and be the fact that I wasn't really that tall. I wasn't tall either. I wasn't a tall kind of person.
Tall right now.
I wasn't tall. Whatever.
No shade, bro.
Whatever.
Okay.
So and most of the juniors were these tall kids, and I wonder what exactly they eat. You get? I'm like, okay. So I felt at some point is it because I'm short? These kids are just like they have no respect for their elders. You get? So
and then you flog them.
Okay, so what I did that day was to go into the office, the principal's office, to get a whip, koboko. That's what they call koboko. Yes. So every student that was coming in, that came in past 9 that day. No, not even past 9, past 8.
Yeah.
Got flogged. I made sure that yes, by me. They were surprised. They were all surprised because that was something I wouldn't do. You understand? On a normal day. Yeah. So they felt like, what could have gone wrong? What really happened?
So like right now in the country, like watch people running around with the memory of you flogging them. No revenge.
Yes,
it's a karma.
They understand. I thought
they understood.
Yes, they understood. Yes, they understood the fact. Yes, that,
I pretty much doubt that.
I was only doing my job. No, I was only doing my job.
Yeah,
you get? Yes.
Which
I was just trying to,
finish.
Maintain, that orderliness. Gets.
Yeah, I feel that. So, it made me think as you were speaking that. Okay, so I thought you were not really flogged as a child, right?
Yes.
And we've already said that people who were flogged will flog. But then you flogged. Yeah. So what made you flog? And I think it's school culture. They did this to us. On some level, we were fine. For maybe people like you were fine, I guess. You and Omo were fine.
I'm still fine.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Right? And then along the line, you got into school, you became seniors, and then you were allowed to flog people, and somehow you trained yourself into flogging people, and now you flog. I mean, now you're violent.
No, I don't. I'm not.
You don't know. No. I feel like at this point you don't know. It could still be there. It's something that was trained into you.
No, I don't think so.
No, now here's the thing: they were kids.
Yes.
They were disorderly.
Yes.
And you flogged them.
Yes.
You will have kids.
Of course.
They will be disorderly. You flog them. It is what it is.
But it's not going to be like an everyday thing you get. In flogging, sometimes I feel it's necessary though, if you ask me.
But they didn't do it to you.
Yes, they didn't.
So don't you think something was wrong somewhere?
My dad did.
You mentioned it.
To some extent, he did.
Let's swerve away from the dad thing. So let's talk about Omar. What did you do? Like very quickly. So what did you do as a senior in school? Were you one of the ones that use belts? Belts were a thing in my own school.
No. I was a nice senior. I was like really chill. Yeah, I was super chill.
I find that at
your nose is growing.
How?
You're lying.
Pinocchio, you're lying.
Really, I was a nice senior. I was nice to everybody. Yes.
Yeah, I guess for me, there has to be a balance between fear and loyalty for me, because I didn't want to flog people. I mean, I feel it's so barbaric in nature, right? But there was this one time where there was a junior. Okay, they told us to send everybody back to classes after like break time or something, and he was just a class below me. At this, when you come out from school, you guys are probably G's because he's not your junior at that point. Yes, he's younger, but you guys could work together, be friends. I guess I started thinking like that already. So I thought I should be able to just tell you, go inside. You're supposed to go inside. But he was claiming, some kind of boss thing, and I was about to fight. And I was not exactly the strongest of people. He was, I don't know, for a junior, he was really big. Anyways, my mates saw what was happening and they popped their belts. Like, it was one of those reflex actions. You could almost hear the whip sound of the belt leaving, their trousers and everything. And they flogged him. And from that point, it's like something switched in my mind. Like, if they
flogged him on your behalf? Or
yes.
What? Okay.
And from that point, once the junior did something, it was like the flogging just worked. Like, once they mess up, you flog them, they do what they're meant to do. And I noticed that's something I kept on doing. And I have younger brothers at home, and I guess no, now they're grown up. But there was a time when my parents had to even ban me from like disciplining them because they allowed me to do it, and then I overdid it to some point, and they had to like say stop. So I'm saying, so the point is, school somehow trained us again.
Yes.
Even after maybe the parents probably did it or they didn't do it, but school trained us again.
Okay.
Into becoming those kind of people somehow.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah.
And I can remember back then a teacher called me to his office and was like, okay, sorry, you're the head girl.
Yeah.
If you don't punish this student, they're going to disrespect you. They won't follow your orders. So you have to cultivate the habit of punishing them either by flogging, whichever way you feel it's cool with you. Yes, necessary. So at that point, I felt, okay, I guess that's just the best way to go about teaching people what to. Yes, no, not to fear, like to do the right thing.
To do the right thing.
Yes, not to fear.
So is it possible to maintain order, right? Like that you said, Ramat, and do it without fear? That'll be the next question. That's what I want to ask you guys. Is it possible? So yeah, Omo, you're the one who didn't flog. That makes sense, right? You didn't flog. So how were you? You're a senior in school. How did you maintain order with the juniors without flogging them or doing anything like that?
I think respect comes into it somehow. I don't know if everybody respects you in a kind of way. It's just like you respect your dad.
Okay.
That's why you listen to what he tells you to do more often than because he flogs you. Do you understand?
Okay.
So if you respect your parents or if you respect your students or classmates or whatever, if they respect you, then they'll be able to do what you say to a large extent. I mean, compared to when you flog them. If you flog a child and the child gets used to flogging, like I've said, I haven't said that. And the child gets used to flogging, then at some point it becomes what's the worst that can happen? It's just going to flog me. And then, there's disorderliness everywhere. So I think respect is like a big thing there.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of this one time when there was this game center. I don't know if you know game centers when we were little. Yeah, I couldn't stop myself. I was very stuck inside type of child. Or get inside, that's what you call it, right? So I was an get inside type of child until the game center. I couldn't help myself. I just had to go and play every time I had a chance. So my dad had, he told me more than 1-2 times, like, don't go back there. There are many shady characters there, blah blah blah. So this one time he came there, he saw me, and then for the first time, I think at that point he was just done. He didn't shout, he didn't do anything. He just walked away. And I was just looking at his back and we were going, and I was like, oh, this flogging is going to be majestic today. You're preparing your mind for the flogging. And then he did nothing. Like, my house was upstairs. And then he went upstairs and he just turned back, looked at me, and he just shook his head and went inside. So he shook his head and went inside, and that was the last time I went to that place, guy. It was amazing the way I felt so bad that he didn't flog me. And it made me realize the flogging they've been doing before that point probably wouldn't. I mean, we don't hate our parents. We're trained to love them. I think children are born with love, right? So the flogging kind of changes you as a person. People kind of glorify pain in Nigeria to an extent where we are proud that I suffered, this is and this is where I am now. But we're not prisoners and we're not soldiers. I mean, soldiers can glorify people, not civilians like us. So to an extent, I feel like the flogging of the kids in school or even at home would just in turn make them, like we've said before, violent people who would flog
their own kids.
and it's a fear that I legit have, and I think like many people out there have, becoming our parents or becoming people who will still flog their kids. And many of my friends have said it before, I will not flog my children because, oh my God, flogging, it really isn't, the way. So, final talking points, right? Let's compare as kids in Nigeria. I think we've seen films and we know how the European culture works. They don't flog them at all. Yeah, so in your own words and from your own perspective, who do you think comes out on top, as in who grows up to be the best type of child or adult? So we have one side where there was no flogging, go to your room, and maybe sometimes they talk back at our parents, oh my God, and all of that. Most of us didn't have our rooms to run to at the end of the day. But who do you think comes out as superior adults? Those of us who were flogged in Nigeria, and those in the Western world, I guess, who were not, or more.
I think it's a balancing act. It's a balance thing. Some kids that were flogged turn out to be, great people, or turn out to be better humans than kids that weren't flogged, and then the reverse is also the case for some other kids as well that weren't flogged.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
There's this, I don't know if I can say this in Yoruba.
Okay.
Yeah. There's this proverb in Yoruba that Ọmọ tó ń bá kọ́lé tó bá lọ síta àtúrò ẹ̀kọ́. So meaning in the sense that like a child who is trained inside
yeah.
at home, when he or she goes out, it's left for him or her to train himself. You get? So I just like he said, it's a balancing thing, you understand? Like, it doesn't really matter if you were flogged or not flogged. It all depends on how what you tell yourself, how you want to turn out. Okay, I don't care if it doesn't matter if I was trained in a certain way. This is who I want to become. This is who I'm going to be. You get? So it's,
okay.
I don't think flogging or really has that effect on what someone becomes in future.
Okay,
I don't know.
Let Omo.
For me,
let Omo go.
I actually think punishment or
spanking or
whatever the case is, does play a factor.
Factor something.
I actually think it plays a part in who you become, or how you end up in life, because there are some kinds of punishments that it might not affect you like immediately, but as you grow older, those things they play on your mind. And
well, for me as an individual, the punishment, the flogging wasn't what did this to me or made me or shaped me into who I am now. Regret, like words did that, because I know my mom back then, she doesn't flog. What she does is that she just sits you down and talk to you. You get? So then they thought, okay, like the fetching of water, to them it was a punishment.
Okay.
Right? And at the same time, they thought it was going to make me okay, because they knew I don't like fetching water. Okay. So they felt, okay, doing that, in as much as they're trying to punish me, they're also trying to train me, and make me want to, like, love doing that thing. You get? Like, they want me to, okay, enjoy doing it. It's a thing. Like, you must do it as a woman. When you grow up, you have to fetch water. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of the home. You get? So, but till date, I still don't like fetching water. It doesn't do anything. For me, it's still a punishment.
Okay.
You get? It's not something I love doing. So it hasn't shaped me in any way. It's only made me hate it the more.
I don't want to be sensitive, but
okay, go. Yeah, just do.
Don't you think the fact that your dad flogged you when you were growing up, play the factor in, or play the part
my
in
relationship with him, right?
And where you are now?
No, funny enough, that wasn't what.
No,
that wasn't. That was I said. Can we not talk about it? Can we not talk? I didn't want to talk about it, because if I should, because I said it like I just didn't want to, and that was the reason why I said let's not talk about it, because it wasn't really the flogging that caused the
rift.
Yes,
thing.
between
Okay.
exactly. So.
Okay.
Let's not talk about
this
it.
is as much as, this is for us as much as for the people we're talking to. So if you want to talk about it, we're here.
Yeah, but maybe some other time, but definitely not today.
Okay, All right. So let's just do it like a quick summary of everything that we've talked about today. So we've agreed that it's people who parents beat or spank because that's what they know.
Yeah, for some parents.
For some parents, right? Because that's what they know, or
How
that's
to
even
do.
how to do it because that's what was done to them.
Yeah.
They know exactly.
That's the only way they know how to train.
That's the only way they know how to
Train their
train
children,
children. And we've agreed that the school plays a part in training us into becoming violent people too.
Yeah.
Very
Agreed.
much.
But at the
Apart
same-
from Omo, for some reason.
I don't know, Sha.
I was the same human being.
I don't know.
I'm still saying now.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Anyway, but we'll talk about that. We
Yeah, of
both
course.
know you're not.
Yeah. So I will just like to add that seeing that we mentioned that kids we've become more intelligent over time and less
Less physical.
less physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like we've agreed that more talking to is needed.
Yeah,
than-
definitely.
Yeah, than flogging.
Yeah. So what's the age limit? So we admit that some you still beat children, like really small children, like this last thing. Yeah. What's the age limit where you say, okay, don't beat this child anymore. You cannot use talking and logic. What do you think is the
I
age?
think the age.
six.
No, for me 7.
It's basically the
Same
same
thing,
age.
Yeah, but yeah.
Why 6? Why 7?
So I think from 5 the child's already smart enough to know what's right and what's wrong. So after that, if it also
I think
tell
from
a child-
7, a child is smart enough to know that we
We
this
agree
is the right
between
thing.
5 and 7, children
Yeah.
should stop being flogged
being
and you start
flogged,
talking
yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
All right, fine. This has been quite a conversation. Thank you guys for being here, taking out the time for this, little talk / therapy session that we've had here. Thank you very much for listening to us today. This is still Growing Up Nigerian, a podcast by Codex. And my name is Abraham Sharon, and with me is
Omoikelua.
and
Ramatakaba.
yeah. So thank you guys for being here with us. So you can leave comments on our social media platforms, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And of course, let's keep the conversation going because we know we're kids now or young adults now, and we're going to become parents.
Very
And I'm really hoping that you've learned something today about how to treat your kids and how not to treat your kids. So thank you very much for being here. This has been Growing Up Nigerian. Have a very good day. Thank you.